Hi, everyone. It's Linda G here with our good friend Mel.
How are you?
So I was just telling Mel we just got back from Viva Las Vegas
Yeah,
and we saw The Wizard of Oz. I will tell you, it was breathtaking. It's as
yeah,
good as any Disney ride.
wow, wow.
And that the place was rumbling, the tornado was blowing, that was blowing your hair back, apples falling from the trees. I brought my grandson and my daughter and my sister and Tris and Mary when we were at their place to see them perform. It was fantastic. They were blown away too. We didn't realize it was going to be that good. And the tickets I got, which are unbeknownst to me, I have no idea about seating at the Spears. And the tickets I bought apparently were the best seats in the house, according to the guy that took us down there.
Wow.
And your seat
Um,
would rumble, and it was like one thing after the other. And it's just the Wizard of Oz movie, but they added all these goodies.
that is my favorite movie in the of all time. My favorite movie in the entire world is Wizard
Yeah,
of Oz.
I love that movie.
Me
And
too.
a tearjerker, even though you've seen it so many times, you still, when she's crying for Auntie M and stuff, it was so pretty.
And Margaret Hamilton was the Wicked Witch of the West. Every time I see her on that broomstick riding by, I get cold chills. When I was a kid, it scared me to death.
Scared you to death.
I would sleep with the light on. And when she's looking at that crystal ball and she says, "We must do these things delicately or it might hurt the
Yeah.
curves." And I'm like, "Oh my God, I get cold chills doing it."
I'll get you and your little dog too.
Yeah, I'll get you, my pretty, you and your little dog too.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That is the best.
She was the nicest person in person, though. She was a very nice person.
She had third degree burns making that movie. Like when she pops out of the fire or when she disappears in Munchkinland, they would shoot fire. And when they did a retake, they there's a trap door. She was supposed to go, fall through the trap door and then they would shoot the fire. Well, it ignited too soon, and she had third degree burns from that. There were a lot of people that were injured on that movie.
Oh
Uh,
yeah,
Buddy Ebsen was going to play the Tin Man.
I know. And he got sick from the paint.
He got sick from the aluminum in the makeup, and so um, he wasn't able to do the part. There was a lot that happened in that movie. But
It's one of the
it's
best movies ever.
it's
When was
they
it filmed? 1933 or
1939, I think. It was
was
it
it?
was Technicolor. Is when Technicolor first came out. Um, it was incredible that, Toto the dog was paid more than the Munchkins, believe it or not.
What?
The dog got more money than the Munchkins.
That's a shame.
Yeah. The
It was
Munchkins were
1939. You're right.
1939. Technicolor had just come
And
out.
you know, a lot of people still only when it went out on TV. A lot of people still only had black and white TVs.
Correct. And so they didn't get the full effect because the whole idea of the Technicolor was it was started in black and white and she landed in Oz and she stepped out and all these brilliant colors filled the screen and people had never seen that before in movies and they were in awe.
I bet they were. I bet they were. And Judy Garland, my God, you know, they almost didn't keep Somewhere Over the Rainbow.
Really, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So, you
Wow.
guys, I made the poster for Ask Questions for Mel and Linda. I just went back to get our questions and I hadn't posted it. So, I've just now posted it. We'll probably have some pretty soon. But
I've
Mel
got
fortunately asked for questions.
I've
But
got a lot.
before we get going, let's get down to the nitty gritty with Venezuela.
Let's thank Andrew first, can we?
Oh,
Andrew
sure.
Nikki. Thank you, Andrew. And my trips. May, a couple people left for the Danube. Is sold out, just maybe cabins on the lower deck. Call my office. Iceland in August to see the eclipse. It's going to be last about a minute and a half in Reykjavik. And then the Galapagos in September to see the Galapagos Islands is going to be incredible. So that's me. All right, go ahead.
All right. So, and thank you, Andrew. Um,
Yes.
I gave some of that product to Tristan's wife, Mary. So she's going to give it a try.
And by the way, you had posted for somebody who was diagnosed with colorectal cancer, stage 3 or 4, and they were doing a GoFundMe page. And so I donated and I said, whoever would donate $500 would get a free reading from me. And a lady who had a reading from me before who had breast cancer and was diagnosed with stage 3 colorectal cancer donated $500, and she donated the reading to the gentleman who's suffering from colorectal cancer or
Oh, how
anybody in the
sweet
family.
was that?
Yeah, you sent me an email. You got the email. You sent me a copy
I
of it.
think she said Mel and Linda.
Yeah, she did. So I just wanted to thank her publicly for that incredible donation. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Listen, real quick, I want to tell you guys, I stayed at the Venetian South Tower. It takes, I probably lost 10 pounds. You got to walk, you got to take a bridge to another tower to go down. And I mean, now I could probably find my way, but it was really tough. But I will tell you, we had a suite. Those beds were the best beds I've ever slept in a hotel ever. I hit the sack. Me and my sister hit the sack. Well, she was a little later. I was at 8:30. I slept straight through till 7 o'clock the next day. That never happens. At least I have to get up to go pee. Never happens.
Wow. You must
I
have
just have to give a thumbs up, but figuring your way around there, forget about it.
nothing better than a comfortable bed.
So let's do Venezuela. What's your hit on Venezuela?
Well, it's on everybody's lips, right?
Yeah.
Um, you know, well, it's so multifaceted. Number one, if you'll think, I mean, Jack Smith had just testified to Congress about, that Trump clearly the stuff he did and the stuff Jack Smith testified against, that clearly it was felonious and that, um, it was very damning for Trump. And I think that probably that the timing of this whole Venezuela thing was strategically orchestrated because they knew that Jack
He'd
Smith.
been planning to do this to Maduro, though,
No, he had been
for
planning to do it
several
to
years.
Maduro, but they picked that particular date or whatever because I also think it was time because they knew that Jack Smith would be testifying and they wanted to divert, distract, the
Yeah,
same wag
but
the
it's not
dog.
going to. It's not going to. Let me
No,
tell
it's
you
not.
what my hit is.
But the other
My,
thing is, I think that Trump also, behind the scenes, he started this in 2020 during
yeah,
his
I
first
know.
reign. But I think that he's doing this not because Maduro, now granted, Maduro is a horrible human being. He is a dictator. He did not win this election fair and square. Uh, you know, I mean, I'm glad that he's gone. However, I don't like the way in which Trump did it, and I find it amazing that one illegitimate president, Donald Trump, took out another illegitimate president, Maduro.
Well,
It's just-
somebody at some nation said, yeah, the P word
exactly
are taking over
right.
countries. But let
But
me
but I
tell you
also
guys what I got.
but I also think that Trump had a thing behind the scenes to get Venezuelan oil. That's what it's
Yeah,
about.
okay. Now let me tell you what my hit was. Are you done now, or is it
I'm sorry.
okay? Okay, that's okay. Okay, because while it was fresh, I needed to get it out. First of all, Maduro will never be president again. I can tell you that much. Second of all, Trump made an agreement to his oil buddies that they could go in there. But and apparently that one who got sworn in as president started saying some stuff about they need to bring Maduro back, and then Trump started to threaten her. Now she's changed her tune, saying she'd like to sit down and have a conversation. But let me tell you something. Trump is blowing it, blowing it, blowing it. They're taking pictures of them in garb. They're taking pictures of them being treated like hell. He's got his big mouth blabbing like he normally does. And that will affect the view of other nations towards Trump and it will affect their ability. I see a bunch of, what would you call it? Like all kinds of chaos going on. What do you call it?
Anarchy.
No, a bunch of chaos going on. I see the courts really having a hard time getting this guy because of what Trump's doing.
My question is, where's the proof? Okay.
Well, they
Here's what
have some proof. But let me finish real quick. So I want you to know that I saw inside people with Madero, I don't know who they are, blowing up any place where they can possibly get oil.
Ooh,
I saw
whoa.
them sabotaging. I saw, and then I'm just going to say this, you guys. But remember a while ago, I told you Trump is going to get kicked the hell out of there because of what he did with boots on the ground military men getting hurt. I see military men getting hurt. Like they'll go down there and he's acting like king for a day. And I see snipers, I see all kinds of turmoil. And America will say, wait a second, we didn't sign up for this. We don't want our sons and daughters losing their lives over this mess.
Wow.
You know, we got problems here in the United States, and he's over there worried about Maduro. And by the way, there was nothing in all that paperwork today with the judge that talks about drugs.
That's my point. Where's the proof? It's all about wagging the dog. It's all about distract, divert, detract. You know, he's doing this stuff in Venezuela. Now he's talking about taking Greenland as a state, taking Canada as a state. He's pissing off, pardon my language. I hope we don't go to YouTube jail. All of our all of our friends, NATO, you know, the European Union, everything. And just giving the courts the middle finger. And, you know, I said what today when I was watching it, there was nothing brought up about drugs. And
No.
I started jotting down notes. I said this wasn't about narco terrorism. It was about Trump wanting to be in Venezuela so he can grease his palms on Venezuelan oil.
Yeah, but they're gonna sabotage it somehow. They're not
Uh,
gonna let. And by the way, that Maduro, he screwed that Venezuela. They're very poverty stricken.
right. Well, because Maduro put the country there. You know, years ago, I learned Spanish in Venezuela, I rent, and they were still a developing country, but they've got lots of oil. And um, and Carlos Andres years ago, Carlos Andres Perez nationalized oil because the American oil companies were exploiting Venezuelan oil. And then, you know, they were democratic then, a democracy. Well, unfortunately, now they're not. But it's funny. I put in my notes, and I said it earlier in this show. Isn't it ironic that an illegitimate president, because Maduro did not win that election, nor did Trump win the one here. So an illegitimate president is taken out by an illegitimate president. Uh, I guess my bigger question is, do you think that he's going to try this in Greenland and also in other countries that he's threatening?
I see him not being able to step over the line with Greenland, so I'm not quite sure what comes at him. But I'm telling you, they've already warned him, don't touch Greenland. And I see other nations really, Madero, not so much because he was sort of a heathen.
I'm glad he's gone. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
I'm glad he's gone.
So the next court hearing is March 17th. The district attorney, whoever for that particular place, this is the same court that did P. Diddy. But it's a new guy Trump put in there who doesn't know how to do these cases.
He's never prosecuted a case. But here's my thing. When Trump was blowing up all those boats that he said were running drugs and you saw the debris
That was a
floating,
lie.
that was a lie. Because if that's the case, you would have seen bundles of drugs because they're wrapped in waterproof bundles floating in the water.
Yeah.
And where are those drugs? Where, if you blew these up and you've intercepted these things for drugs, where are they?
Well,
And
they kept doing this, but if you notice, Venezuela didn't do anything to really make America pay.
no.
They just let them. So they figured, oh, good, they're worthless. Let's go down there and take over.
Well, first of all, Trump said it was fentanyl. Then he said it was cocaine. And now it's narco terrorism. And, you know, a lot of those supposedly Venezuelan gang members that he arrested in this country that weren't gang members at all and sent to some concentration camp. My feeling is he's wanting just to build detention centers in Venezuela as well. And he wants that president there to do his bidding. But I don't know. He's
She
going to
sounds
find
like she's talking, putting her nose up against the orange. You know what?
Right. But I'll tell you, the people in
He said
Venezuela
she
are,
would pay worse than this guy.
well, the people in Venezuela will protest and they'll stand up against Trump. I can tell you that right now.
I know. I was surprised, even in America, the people were saying, get out of Venezuela." even though he wasn't the legitimate president, they don't like the fact that this guy comes in there acting like he's king for a day.
I think they're glad that Maduro was taken out. But I think that Venezuelans, I forget the population of the country, but they have a huge military.
30 million.
That's right. And if this president, if she starts sucking up to Trump, I can tell you right now, the
They'll take
Venezuelan
her out
people,
too.
there will be a coup. There will be a coup d'etat. That's what I
Yeah.
predict.
Well, I see American men being very hurt. There's some, I see some explosions. I see intel on the Venezuelan side underground doing stuff. They have a big organization that goes amongst other nations too. I don't know what they call them, but it's almost like black ops. And they will plan some stuff to make sure the United States doesn't make a dime. And if we lose lives because of it, that's when America turns. But let me tell you, this all goes in the pot of impeachment, you guys. Trump will be impeached, and this is one of the main ones. And I think I said this way back when he allegedly won again. I said there's going to be something of some sort of war he's going to start and some sort of money issues. Although today the stock market's going way up because the rich people are getting richer.
Yeah, but it's going to tumble down too, Linda. I see it taking
Yeah,
a big, huge hit. Uh, you
yeah.
know, and I see things coming out that a lot of the oil companies were behind some of this too. That Trump and these oil companies got their heads together to pull something like this. You'll
But
see.
tell me about Putin. He's not happy about this.
But
Is that a
okay,
fraud, a fake?
it is a break. Publicly, I'm not happy about this, but behind the scenes, he's ecstatic. And how could he say anything about Trump doing it? Because he did the same thing to
I
Ukraine.
know.
So,
But
he
I
might be-
almost feel like he got permission from Putin.
he did. Trump talked to Putin
And
about
I
it.
also feel he's told Putin, okay, don't worry, we're going to cut you in on this.
Exactly.
But
So
China's not happy.
Putin's got his little fingers in that till too. Why do you think that Trump stopped supporting Ukraine and started supporting Putin? Because they want the spoils of these countries that they're invading. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Um, you know, but Putin's got a lot on Trump too. Putin helped Trump win the election. Hello.
Well, Elon Musk did.
Well, Elon Musk did too, but still. And I'm sure that Elon Musk is going to try to chum up to Trump to get his fingers in some of the Venezuelan pie too.
It's pouring rain down here, by the way.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. I
But
don't have to go anywhere.
another thing on another front is that Hegseth is censuring Kelly because Kelly is retired, and
Oh, he
well,
wants to put him back in the military and put him down. By the way, Mark Kelly may be our vice president.
I think he will be.
So, yeah, screw you.
Well, Chuck Schumer said that Mark Kelly is a hero and a patriot committed to serving the American people. And he said, grab this one. Pete Hegseth is the lapdog committed to serving one man, Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Um, and Schumer also said uh, that this just is an effort to silence dissent within the military. So, by Hexa doing what he's doing to Mark Kelly, it's not going to silence Kelly. It's going to make him that much more
Well,
formidable.
I hear people saying, and our military went in there and did what Trump said. I do see our military. They're kind of like the good old gang. They kind of like to have things they have to do.
Right,
But
right.
you're going to have a horse of a different color when Trump orders them to go up against civilians. It's going to
They're
be a
going to
horse of a
realize
different color.
they're going to realize that they've bitten off a doo-doo sandwich. And
Yeah.
people are going to be saying, wait a minute, look at what he did in Venezuela when everything here is crumbling. Everything at home is starting to be in shambles, everything here. Our economy, the amount we're paying for groceries, our healthcare system is going down the toilet, everything. And, people are going to start speaking up even more about that.
Yeah.
I mean, Trump is not going to win an election on his foreign policy. He thinks he will, but people care about more about food on their table that they can afford and being able to pay for their medication.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
And those things will bring Trump down as well. I
Well,
mean, Linda,
he's
they're
going
so
down
bad.
and he's going out physically. I really feel strongly physically he's going down too.
Well, I asked my guys about, his hands being black and all that, and his health is really bad. But part of it is he's poisoning himself with the aspirin he's taking. Did you hear about the
Yeah,
aspirin?
325 milligrams.
That's not good. I
Well,
mean,
even a baby aspirin, that some people they recommend you don't do that. So I don't
I
know.
know I take it every other day or maybe every third day. But I mean, I mean, it can wreck your kidneys, it can wreck your liver. I mean, his insides have
But
got to
it
look
don't
like
wreck your
milk.
big mouth, does it?
No, it didn't wreck his big mouth, that's for sure. Um,
But I hear gunfire. I hear shooting. I hear they're not going to go in there to Venezuela and be heroes. Venezuela, even though they're not fans of Maduro, are going to ops underground people will blow up places that they could get the oil. Let them start building it and then blow it up. I just see them sabotaging America.
you know what? I got cold chills on that.
Yeah,
So,
I can hear gunshots.
wow. Wow.
And if
Or,
our men get killed, then that's when America really will get mad at him. And
um,
Congress is already not helping. They tried to tell Congress he didn't ask for permission. Blah. They try to bring up some bill that says, he's got per the Constitution, he's got to ask permission. They poo-pooed it, so they're all going down.
well, what he did, in my opinion, is unconstitutional. But right. I mean, I think behind the scenes, he did that just to make himself look good because of all the other crap coming out about him.
Well, look at showing pictures of them in prison garb, trying to make a big deal, like they do with these people, these innocent people, Americans that they're sending off to other countries, and
It,
they make them squat down like this with their heads shaved.
it's so ironic. A convicted felon, Donald Trump, all right, you know, bringing to justice another thug.
Right.
It boggles my
And then
mind.
some guy in another country, he said, "Oh, look out! The pedophiles country is looking to destroy other countries."
Yeah, right. It boggles my mind. All right. Um, Jackie Frazier asked, will Congress succeed in stopping 45 from taking over Venezuela or another country he wants for greed?
Well, what?
Will Congress succeed in stopping Trump from taking over Venezuela or another country he wants for greed? Well, Trump keeps saying that the United States is running Venezuela. It's probably not far from the truth. He's probably got a puppet, that woman, he wants her to be a puppet. But if she becomes too much of a puppet to Donald Trump, I'm telling you, the Venezuelan people will
They'll take her
overthrow
out.
her. That's right.
And
So,
even that guy in jail right now, Maduro, he'll underground will give the word to take her out.
oh, uh, I'm sure he's still got, I'm sure Maduro's still got people that working for him inside of Venezuela. That's for
Let me
sure.
ask you something. Will he actually get bonded out? Can he do that?
They're going to keep the Trump administration will find ways to keep him, just like they did with Noriega, just like the government did with Noriega. I think once Trump and once Vance are out of office, then whoever takes over is going to take a look at it and say, that the way he was captured and everything like that was illegal. I don't think all the charges against him are going to stick. The ones that the narco terrorism and all that, I don't see that sticking.
No.
Um, you know, um,
He's
and what they're
never
going
going to be ahead of the.
no,
I just
no,
don't see it happening.
no, it won't. What they're going to do is drag this trial out for years.
That's what I was seeing. Well, the next motion is March 17th.
For years, they'll drag it out for years. So, I mean, and let's say you drag it out for 3 or 4 years, it's not going to matter at that point anyway.
Stargazer. What I only put my poster up a few minutes ago. I got tons of questions.
Okay, go ahead.
Stargazer said the Supreme Court Justice Roberts, in his end of the year letter, hinted that they will be reigning in presidential power. Do you see this happening?
Yes, I do. I've been predicting it for a long time that the court's going to say, wait a minute, they're going to re-examine the whole thing of that presidential immunity, and they're going to redefine it and say that he cannot get by with a lot of this stuff.
I love it. I told you guys when we go Democratic, when we got a new Democratic president, when that House turns crystal blue, you're going to see these Supreme Court people all of a sudden change their tune.
Right.
It's just like what Franklin D. Roosevelt did. He said out loud, I don't know, because they were fighting him. The Supreme Court fought him on everything he was trying to do, like Social Security and stuff. He says, I guess I'll have to pack the courts. I have no choice. Right after he said that, they started saying yes to everything he said.
Well, I think once Trump and once the Maybelline Queen is gone, then I see a lot more justices on the court. I mean, new justices. I see at least two justices, I keep saying it, be impeached and removed from the court, and one resigning
Kavanaugh is one
before
of
he
them.
gets impeached. So, here's a good one by Kerry. It says, who will prosecute Maduro? Will it be the Dems? And here's a good question. Why is it New York and not Florida? Why did they take him to New York and not Florida?
I don't know. I don't know
I
what the
could be
difference is.
It could be where that court is. I mean, it could be where that federal court is located, and that's where they prosecute cases like this. I don't have an answer for that. But
I see a lot of bad things happening for the United States in attempting to prosecute this guy,
oh
mostly
yeah,
because of Trump's big mouth.
that's right. I mean, there's an emergency meeting being called of the United Nations, and the United Nations is going to sanction and condemn the United States for doing it. It's not looking real good with NATO. People are going to get tired of being bullied by Donald Trump. And this was the ultimate act of bullying. Now, granted, nobody's shedding any tears because Maduro's gone. He wasn't the legitimate president anyway. But that's a different story. The story is Trump took it upon himself to go there and take this guy
And
out.
they, even though they're struggling, they will sabotage themselves to make sure the United States gets nothing.
That's right. That's right. Because they'll remember what it was like when the oil companies here were exploiting the country for the oil.
Yeah. Hey, I got a question from I don't know the answer to this. Maybe you know. Yorda. Why has Tim Walz dropped out of the 2026 race?
Well, they said it's because of the way he handled some kind of fraud in his state.
Was he
You
what
know,
was he running for? Governor again?
he was going to run for governor.
Oh.
Um,
Well, now they think who's the lady that ran for president from Minnesota? I like her.
oh,
I heard her name and I said she'll win it.
yeah, I can't think of her name.
You know, she's kind of got that brown short hair.
But I see a Democrat winning for
Yeah.
governor of Minnesota.
I
Um,
really like Tim Walz. I hate for him to be raked over the coals.
I just think he had it. I just think he
I
was
think
like,
he's tired. He's tired of his children being made fun of.
yeah, I just think he had it. Um, I don't see anything criminal that he's done. I just think he's
No,
had it. That's what I pick up. He's
I
just
think
tired.
so too. I think so too.
All right. Um, Do you see 45? This is from Jackie Frazier. Hi, Jackie. Excuse me. Do you see 45 and his administration being removed before the summer of 2026? And if so, who would take over until we get another elected president? Well, in order to remove Trump, you
They're
have
going
to
to
have
impeach him.
you have to have impeachment. And I've seen impeachment, but it's one thing to impeach, it's another thing to remove from office. And if they impeached him right now, if it went to trial in the Senate, they wouldn't remove him from office because the Senate is still controlled by the Republicans.
Right. You have to wait for the blue wave.
You have to have at least, I think, two-third votes of the Senate to get rid of him. And even if they got rid of him, then J.D. Vance will become president. So it's not like you get rid of one and the other one goes. But I also see J.D. Vance being impeached.
Oh yeah, the whole lot of them. Marco Rubio. with those
Yes,
dead
Marco
eyes.
Rubio after this, well, I was just doing whatever, whatever, whatever. That's not gonna fly.
Yeah,
And Pete Hegseth, he's another one that's gonna be in deep water. But I want to tell you who they're really gonna go after, and that's Pam Bondi.
she's going to
Big
go.
time. Big time.
Couldn't happen to a nicer person. And it's Christy Gnome and all of them.
Oh, Christy Nome
But
too.
that hedgehog's in big trouble.
Big trouble.
He should be afraid, very afraid, because I'm telling you, inside that military, they're just waiting for him to do something to hurt them and then they'll take him out.
That's right. Okay, so
So,
um,
the, is thank you for this question, Joanne. She wants to know is Mexico and Canada safe?
well, that's the other thing is that that's what I asked earlier. I forgot to put Mexico in there because now he's threatening Mexico. And I think that president down there is setting up things already. The president of Mexico, she's setting up things already to if Trump tries some shenanigans that he would never win, he would never succeed. So she's
No.
putting in things in place already.
But tell me about Greenland.
He's going to try some shenanigans with Greenland.
Let
I
me
feel
look at
yes.
Greenland.
But Denmark, the king of Denmark, has already said that you cannot touch the three nations in Denmark's kingdom, and he has no right annexing any of them.
But why
And
is it I feel more people standing against Trump on Greenland than I do on Venezuela?
well, because Venezuela's um, person in power, he didn't win the election. The election was rigged. Everybody knew it, and he was a dictator, and he was a
And he
thug.
threw them into poverty.
Correct. The whole nation. And that's but if you take a look what's happening here. Trump is throwing our nation into poverty. Think about it.
And
So,
just feeding the fat cows.
correct. So nobody's upset about Maduro being
I don't
removed.
want you guys to worry about Greenland.
But Greenland's a different story. Greenland is not doing anything with drugs. They're not, you
Yeah,
know,
people will come together. He thinks
correct.
we need them for military reasons.
Right, exactly. The only reason Trump wants Greenland when he says it's for our national security, that's bullpucky. That's bull hockey. He just wants it because he wants the minerals and he just wants to control the Western Hemisphere. That's what it's about. He wants to be the king and the dictator of the Western Hemisphere.
There, he's not going to get Greenland. I can tell you. I see other nations coming together.
I
They're
see.
standoffing, which means they probably got a lot of different, including UK and stuff, people ready to go and saying, "Come on, push that off my shoulder," and they
I,
don't.
I see NATO and I see the European Union. Uh, and the United Nations all getting together saying you cannot do this. And if they need, they would send troops to Greenland to protect Greenland's to protect the sovereignty of Greenland and and Denmark because Greenland is a nation under the Danish flag. So and the Danes will send troops too.
Oh hell
So
yeah,
he'll try it, but
it's not going to work.
it's not going to
The
work.
minute our people start getting killed for his fantasies, is his end. It's his end. There's
Well, I
nobody's going to be
already think
saying,
that
"Oh
there were
yeah."
some soldiers that got killed in Venezuela. They're just not saying anything right now, but
I
it
think
will
so
come out.
too. I think so too. But
That's what
let
I
me
just
tell you
put.
something. I just got a hit. I see Tim Kaine. No, what's it? Not Tim Kaine. The guy Tim Walls. Sorry.
Them all.
I saw a breakdown. It might have been his wife or a child. I see a breakdown, a family affair, and sobbing. And I see almost like I just can't take anymore, is what I heard. Maybe it's him crying. But it was like, it's just, look what happened with the Harris campaign. Look at this. Look at how he treats, so disrespectful about people getting shot in their homes in Minnesota.
Oh yeah, I
And I
know.
think it was just so much that he just, it was so much easier to say, you know what, I'm not running.
I'm done. Right. Hmm. Um, Kind of sad because he was good.
Yeah,
But
he
I
was
think you're
really
right.
good. He made sure kids got their lunches, and
But I think you're right about Mark Kelly. I really feel Mark Kelly will be vice president.
Yeah, and Mark Kelly, that let him try to do all that stuff. It's not going to work in their favor. I'm telling
Not going
you.
to work in their favor at all. Okay. Jackie says, well, will all the military officers and generals that followed 45 illegal actions in Venezuela be tried and convicted and removed from their positions without any pensions for the evil and illegal acts they just committed?
No,
No, I don't see that. I do see some of them being removed from office because of other things they have done that's illegal. Um, just not the Venezuela thing.
I for some reason I don't see them having enough. They were following orders.
Right. Um, all right. Well, this is a really good one. Uh, I can't see the name, Dan Wignall or something. Do we as a collective whole learn our lesson from this horrible administration? Will our country will our country become friendlier? In other words, did we learn our lesson from this administration with Trump? Um, yes, as a collective whole, we do.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
Okay, how about Klobuchar? Klobuchar.
Oh,
She'll run for
Klobuchar.
governor, and yes, she'll win. So
She'll win.
he dropped out of running for a third term for governor.
Oh, wow. Okay. But she'll win.
Yeah. So how will China retaliate against Trump? They need to call in all the loans. Any of those Japan, China, if they start calling in the notes, it'll destroy us.
I heard one word, sanctions. When you said, how will China retaliate against Trump?
Sanction what?
Sanctions. In other words, that China would sanction us, that, you know, we're not going to have to honor trade agreements because, we get a lot of our stuff, manufactured stuff from China.
And
We
we
have a lot.
still do from China after they said we wouldn't.
Right. And so I see China putting sanctions on the United States, like economic sanctions and all kinds of things. And
Yeah.
they're going to tell Trump behind the scenes. Will Trump listen? No. But when he starts to see how it's going to just make things in shambles here, I don't even know if he'll listen then. I think he just created this whole Venezuela thing because of oil, because he wants to be king of the Western Hemisphere, but also it was still a diversion. It's to take people's eyes off of what's happening here. And it'll be a temporary diversion, but it won't last long.
Yeah. Yeah. They're definitely trying to drop um, our astronaut. The Pentagon is trying to downgrade Senator Kelly.
Right, exactly.
They
And
can
it's
do what they want, but it's going to
not going to work.
backfire.
Um, okay.
Okay, so Beth said, and this is a repeat question, but do you think DJT will cause an uprising in Venezuela? Absolutely, yes. They may have a lot of stuff that they could clean up, but they don't want no U.S. president telling them what to do.
There's 300,000 people in Venezuelan military.
Oh, I
So,
thought there was only 30. Oh,
all right,
300,000. Yeah.
300,000. So it's kind of hard to, if those generals decide that they're not wanting Trump, guess what? They're going to take over. And I see a coup d'etat down there. I do.
I don't see the U.S. taking over their oil. I just don't see it.
I don't
They
either.
can attempt it. They might put money in to build it. They're going to have their men's in suits down there, and then I see them sabotaging everything they try to do.
Well, the Venezuelan people, because they're going to be like, we're not going to be slaves to oil companies. That's exactly what I pick up.
Yeah,
We're not going to be slaves to oil companies. And did you hear Trump say right before this Venezuela thing? Oh, burning oil is clean energy. It's clean energy. Really?
yeah.
Um, okay. Um, this is a good one. Mara Pimbleton says, was the child care money pulled from Minnesota because it's a blue state? The answer is yes, I feel.
Yeah. Somebody
Okay.
said, will it be a nothing burger, Mark Kelly losing his retirement? Absolutely, yes, girlfriend. Just hold on.
Just
Hold
nothing.
on. No matter what they do, when things go crystal blue, everything comes back to him, even if they manage to do this. Can I just throw real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Will the Pentagon actually be able to do this to Mark Kelly? Will there be a trial? If you have
They
a
don't.
trial, they wouldn't be able to do it because,
Well, the only thing they could do a trial would be a court martial. That's a trial. But if they court martial him, then he would be found innocent. He wouldn't be convicted.
oh,
So there you go. And they can court martial him all they want, but court martial just means a trial. But he wouldn't be removed from the military. No.
it's just so petty. I
Well, it's
can't
like,
wait till Hedgehog is up on that stand.
well, Trump is doing to Mark Kelly what he did to Venezuela. If you don't do what I want you to do, then I will punish you. I will turn the government against you. I will come
Yeah.
after you.
It's a bit of an up and down cycle, but he will win in the end. The bird of paradise is on his shoulder. So it doesn't matter what they do, he's still on top.
They're going to try to make him look bad, but it's not going to work.
Yeah, and then he's going to be vice president.
He's going to be just like Newsom. The more they try to make him look bad, the better he's going to look.
Yeah.
All right. Um, I don't know if I've asked this, but this is a good one though. Danny Genie here says, will another country invade America and do unto 45 as he has done unto the Venezuelan president? It's a good question. Um,
Wouldn't you? What are you saying? Would somebody come and take out Trump like they took out Maduro?
the person's asking, will another country invade America and do to Trump just what he did to Maduro? That's the question. In other
No,
words, will
Trump.
somebody take out Trump? Will somebody come into this country and take out Trump?
I know they want to take him out, but I
Of
don't
course they
see if
do.
it's successful.
Uh, I don't see somebody coming here and extracting him, no, and kidnapping him, no.
Yeah,
But um, I'm still concerned about his health, and I still see impeachment for him and uh, for uh, Shady Vance. That's what I pick up.
yeah, yeah.
I'm sure there's plans being made to try it, but I don't see it going through. Um, Somebody's asking, will Maduro return to Venezuela?
I don't see him live. I see him being not even a welcome back.
I hear the word exile.
Okay.
So he might be freed at some point, but he'd be living in exile somewhere else, not in Venezuela.
Does he have money hidden somewhere?
Oh, tons.
Because he can pay for really good lawyers.
Oh, he's got the top lawyers. Even lawyers here would want to take it for free because it's a case of a lifetime.
Yeah. But also, they know they can get some money.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, he's got money hidden, of
They're going to,
course.
like you said, they're going to stretch this out till the cows go home.
Here's somebody that Cheryl Rutherford said something, and I just want to share it if it's okay. I like this. She says she's talking about Canadian people and how they're reacting to Trump wanting to make Canada a 51st state. And here's what she said. She says, Canadians do not hate the American people. Your government has forced us not to come to America. Your president has to be stopped, his cabinet gone, praying for all those affected by this madman.
He's a
And
madman
that
for
sums up
sure.
how Canadians feel about what's going on.
Oh, they trying to sell off their property in Florida. They're not coming to Las Vegas even.
And the deal is, I think Canadians realize that it can also happen there if they're not careful.
But you know who's still traveling here is your Chinese, and they're still coming here. There's a lot of Chinese in Las Vegas.
Well, because it's probably, I don't know. Um, but even that'll stop a lot too, though.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, let's see. Oh, this is a good question. And I think there's validity to this question. It says, is there a plan? This is Tammy. Trump takes North and South America, including Greenland, Putin taking Europe and China. or taking Asia? If so, who fails first? That's a really good question.
None of them are going to take shit.
Well, I know that, but I think that's kind of what's in their head behind the scenes. Like Trump wants to be in charge of the Western Hemisphere, and
He's
Putin
even
thinks he
causing
can get
people in
there.
Mexico to be nervous.
Correct. Uh, I do think there's a plan, Tammy. Yes. The question is, will the plan succeed? No, it will not. That's what I pick up.
So, what do you see with the Saudis with this whole thing?
Um, well, Trump gave them a lot of money, right?
They gave Trump a lot of money,
They
right?
gave Trump a lot of money. Well, I'm probably sure that they've got their hand in the whole Venezuelan thing too, like with
I
getting
heard they were
Venezuela.
mad at him, but sometimes you don't know if it's fake, just like with Putin.
As long as they can get their hands on oil.
Yeah, but
And
they're not going to be, they're going to, every time they go in and try to set up something, it's going to get blown up. I
bingo.
just keep seeing that. So,
Uh, I think they're kind of supporting Trump behind the scenes because, um, again, they want to get their fingers in Venezuelan oil. Venezuela has a lot of oil. It's a very oil-rich country.
but we're only, they're like way down on the list of oil people
Right, right.
because they're not doing the work.
They're not doing the work.
So,
So there
all
you
right,
go.
my friend, thank you so much.
Yeah, this has been good. Thank you. I've
We had a
enjoyed
good
this.
time.
We did. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you earlier. I was just on a roll.
I know. I was like, I had something I needed to say, but that was cool. We both got it
I
done.
was just like, I don't know, something just came over me and I was like on a roll.
All right, sweetie. So I'll see you next Monday.
Next Monday, you got it.
Bye, everybody. It was great seeing you. Did you get your Christmas stuff down?
I didn't put any up.
Oh, good. My son got my tree down, and I
All
got some stuff up here I got to move. Okay, talk to you later.
right,
Bye,
sweetie.
everybody.
Bye.
Cheers.